that mean? That you cannot source foreign exchange from the Nigerian foreign exchange market to import those items into Nigeria. But if you have free dollars, you can bring it in, but that you will not be able to even make payments for those from dollars from the Nigerian foreign exchange market. This is because we think that the initiatives that central bank had put in place in the past to cut imports and diversify the structure of the Nigerian economy is yielding results, and we would continue to be that aggressive. And indeed, we also went further to say that we would investigate the Economic Intelligence Department of the CBN together with the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission. We will investigate any company, any individual suspected of bringing these items either through any border, through smuggling, on any means, for money laundering and economic sabotage. And that if we discover, and conclusively, that these companies or individuals are involved in bringing this thing in through money laundering and its economic sabotage, that we would write to all the banks, we'll blacklist those companies, and those individuals running those companies, or who owns those companies, that they can no longer operate any bank account in any Nigerian bank. There is no need to talk about prosecuting you, but it is just to say we will not allow you to do business again in Nigeria, and of course you know what implication that means. There's a question here that talked about that it is good that the external reserves are up. What is the assessment of the economy of Nigeria? Yeah, but it's important for me to say that if we think about where we are coming from, I will say, and I like to use some numbers. For instance, in 2008, precisely in September, Nigeria's reserve was about $62 billion. GDP was 7.2%. Inflation was 15% in 2008. By 2014, January precisely of 2014, GDP was 6.2. Inflation had trended downwards to 8%, and January of 2014, reserve was 40. Let's not forget, we're in a period of prosperity in terms of crude prices. Between 2009 to 2014, 5 straight years with no shut-ins in pipelines, with a high crude oil price, and yet reserve dropped. Now, from 2014, from about the end of 2014, we started another round of global crisis. The global crisis resulted in stagflation in Nigeria. GDP dropped to 2.79% in 2015, went further and contracted to negative of 1.58% in 2016, improved in 2017 to 8.2, and then up, we're expecting, hopefully, 2018 would end at about 1.8%. Inflation, like I said earlier, was 15% in 2008, dropped to 8% in 2014, and 2015 it moved up to about 9%, 9.5%, and by January 2016 it had moved up to 18.7%. And in January 2017, I moved up to 18.7%, but today, through the activities in the monetary and fiscal policies, inflation had gone down to 11.4%. Like I said earlier, reserves was 62 billion sometime in 2008, with even higher reserves, with higher productivity. Reserve dropped to 40 billion in January 2014 and ended 2014 at 35 billion, went further down in 2015 to 28 billion, and indeed by October, as a result of the crisis, October 2016, reserve had plummeted further to 23 billion. Today, as a result of all the actions and activities of both the monetary and fiscal policies supported by the government, Reserve is up, went up to 39 in 2017, and 2018, we closed at 42.5. And I had said so in my communique that even as at now, as a result of the confidence in the management of the Nigerian foreign exchange market, the confidence in the management of the country, we've seen confidence even in foreign investors even returning to the point where today, as I said, as I closed of work yesterday, reserve was 43.28 billion. We had seen FX stability in the market, and some of you will recall that sometime in 2016, up to early 2017, of course, we had currency crisis, we had capital flight, and we saw a situation where exchange rate, even in the black market, had moved up in February to 525. And I was being told that by March it will hit 1,000. And Lord knows what it would have hit by even April or May of 2017. But as a result of the actions of the Central Bank of Nigeria, today, the market, all market, in fact, the borrowed exchange market had come down to about 360. Today, even selling at slightly below 360, right? The INA window, which is a market that we set up for free flow, free in, free out, today is about 362. So we have seen a substantially a convergence of the foreign exchange market in Nigeria today. On the balance of trade, because, I mean, it's important for us to provide an assessment so that when people sit and say that the economy hasn't done well, I think it is not a fair comment to be made both on government and also on the monetary and the fiscal authorities in Nigeria today. On the trade issue, balance of trade, in 2008, imports stood at $86 billion. By 2017, it had dropped to $45.8 billion as a result of the activities of government and the monetary and fiscal authorities. Export also stood at, in summary, I can say that trade balance in 2008 was $46.2 billion, went down during the period of the global crisis to $6.4 billion, and today is up as at 2018. 2017 was $13.15 billion, and we expect in 2018 it closed at 18.7. Now, when you talk about activities that are related to issues on the restriction of foreign exchange for the importation of certain food items, you would also find, for instance, rice, which is a major staple that people talk about today. The data from the Thai Rice Exporters Association says that in 2014, Nigeria imported 1.2 million metric tons of rice into Nigeria. In 2015, it had dropped to 644. In 2016, to 58,000 metric tons. 2017, to 23,000 metric tons, and 2018, to 6,000 metric tons. And I can also read to you, in terms of FX allocated for the importation of some of these items, right? For sugar, for wheat, in 2014, Nigeria imported, we spent $1.2 billion importing wheat. By 2017, it had gone below half to 628, and we are working assiduously to make sure that this goes down further. And that also means that we will be aggressive in supporting smallholder farmers that are going into the area of cultivation of wheat in Nigeria. Sugar had come down from $462 million in 2014 to $255 in 2017. Fish had dropped from over $1 billion in 2014 to just $18.96 in 2017 million, and of course 2018 to $19.29 million. Importation of tomatoes had dropped FX from $7 million to less than $1 million in 2017, and of course 2018 I can assure it was less because we don't have that data here. What are we saying? These results are as a result of the actions and activities of government supporting the monetary and fiscal authorities in Nigeria today. The president came up and said, look, there is a need for us to diversify the base of the Nigerian economy. And please, and it's important that I take some of our time to really explain some of the success and achievements that we have seen in the Nigerian economy. Dangote today is establishing one of the biggest plants that have ever lived to see at a time today. It is as a result of government insisting that we must restructure the base of the Nigerian economy. Last Saturday, just 3-4 days ago, I was at the project site. The project site of Dangote is at least 10 times the size of Victoria Island in Lagos. We were driving around that project site, driving, not trekking. It took us 4 hours driving around that project site on Saturday. And let me describe the project for you. That project is the largest single-train petroleum refinery in the world today. It is a 650,000 barrel per day refinery. By the time that refinery eventually comes on stream, Nigeria will not just be self-sufficient in the production of refined products. Nigeria will become a net exporter of refined products, earning nothing less than $7.5 billion annually. And I told Dangote, eventually, central bank will be begging you to sell him foreign exchange. So that is one project. Dangote also went into a fertilizer project. That fertilizer project is twice the size of LMA project. By the time the engine of that fertilizer project is cranked in April, Nigeria will be self-sufficient in the production of fertilizer, so we'll also be exporting fertilizer. Hence, the need to say we're placing a ban on FX availability for the importation of fertilizer into the country. The refinery project will also lead into the petrochemical plant, where polypropylene, polyethylene products will also be produced in Nigeria. What does that also mean? The size of that polypropylene or petrochemical plant is 10 times the current size of LMA petrochemical plant. These are some of the things that have been done, and it's as a result of deliberate policy of government supporting the monetary and fiscal authorities to say we need to deepen and restructure the base of the Nigerian economy. Right? Now, what is the cost of this project? Refinery project is about $9 billion. Dangote has provided nothing less than 50% in equity for that project. The remaining balance is being funded by local and foreign banks. And out of that, central bank has sown a seed to say we would provide about 75 billion naira, which is less than $300 million into that project. And we also said that it shouldn't just be about Dangote, but also that we are ready